your energy forecast for Tuesday, November 21st. So today we have the moon in Pisces all day, and of course the sun is still very much in Scorpio at the final degrees in Scorpio energy, as this is the last day of Scorpio season. So to have the sun and the moon both in water signs, this is definitely a day for emotional refinement, for intuitive insights, for peeling back the hidden layers on some awarenesses, on some truths, on some insights that maybe we just weren't ready to see as of just yet. The sun in Scorpio still pushing for this transformation, for this metamorphosis, for this unification of the division within self. And of course, the moon in Pisces is a time for us to wind down, step back, be a little bit more introspective, a little bit more reflective, if you will, really sorting through our thoughts, our feelings, bringing certain cycles to an end and preparing ourselves for a brand new chapter that will pop off when the moon moves into Aries energy. The moon in Pisces is very emotional, hypersensitive. We are very, very much picking up on the subtle energies of our environment, of other people, of just information and details that, of course, aren't materialized in this earthly realm. And we are really putting ourselves in a situation where we're being downloaded with some very profound insight. And we're really kind of in the mood to unwind and to tap into our spiritual side, as there is a little bit of a refreshment, rejuvenation period needed before we jump into a brand new cycle. I think it's also very interesting that we're going to be kicking off this brand new emotional cycle when the moon shifts into Aries energy on the exact same day that the sun will be leaving Scorpio energy, moving into Sagittarius energy. That is a lot of fire on fire, and it's a very interesting alignment that we're going to have the pleasure to work with jumping into Sagittarius season. And if you haven't already taken a listen to what Sag season's going to be all about, or downloaded the Sagittarius season e-guide, definitely going to recommend that you do both. So there's going to be a lot of, I'm going to say, internalized pressure here today, a lot of emotional triggers and activations in order for us to kind of see things from a different set of eyes, a different level of awareness. And we're definitely going to be percolating on a lot of new creative energies that are coming in and really helping us to shape this path, this vision, this dream, this goal that we're going to be working hard to manifest. So there are 9 different aspects here today. 7 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon in Pisces is going to make a positive interaction with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. I love this because, again, Pisces energy, Taurus energy works really, really well together. The Pisces energy kind of downloads us with new visions, new dreams, new creative visions as well. It's a new type of, let's call it, spiritual fuel on what it is that we want to build towards. The Taurus energy helps to give it structure. That's where we bring these ideas, these passions, these visions into form. The Uranian energy is trying to awaken us to where it is that we have to make some major changes in our lives, especially to our physical realm. Uranus retrograde in this Taurus energy is showing us where it is that we're holding fear, doubt, insecurity, that if we let go of some of the things that we worked really hard to create but are no longer in alignment with because we're no longer those versions of self, that the universe will not fill the gap in which we are going to create with something better. That is our fear. That is our worry. That is our hesitation. So the moon interacting with Uranus in this way, first of all, is a sudden shift in our emotional realm, a sudden shift in our intuition, our downloads, our insight. And what this is doing is showing us where it is that we can break away from doing things in the way that we've always been doing things and really have a new sense of optimism and confidence and trust that we are going to be gifted with something better, something more in alignment to our higher selves. The moon is then going to semi-square, creating a little bit of a tension point with the North Node in Aries energy. This is basically just us getting overwhelmed with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, with the ifs, ands, and buts, with the overwhelming pressure that we're feeling to figure everything out, to get a plan together, to take action, to make moves, to see some kind of progress in moving forward. Of course, we're in a little bit of a energetic conflict right now because the moon in Pisces wants us to retreat, doesn't want us in a state of action, doesn't want us making moves, doesn't want us progressively pushing ourselves on a path moving forward, because we have to have a little bit of time to reflect, to rejuvenate, to get our bearings, to cultivate this particular energetic, creative energy that's coming in. We have to percolate on that. We have to build on it in order for it to sustain us through this next building chapter. But of course, we just had the first quarter moon in Aquarius energy. That was an action point, a decision point, a choice point. It did promote kind of deciding or choosing or taking action upon something. We have Mars, who has just been resurrected with his conjunction with the sun, really kicking off a brand new 2-year cycle. But we're not going to see Mars in action until he moves into Sagittarius energy here on the 24th. Right now, the impulse, the urgency to take action and make moves is very much there. But emotionally speaking, intuitively speaking, we have to understand that we're not being supported with that aggressive energy as of just yet. It's coming here tomorrow. But right now, we have to refine the plan. We have to refine the strategy. We have to build in the creative force energies within us so that, again, it's going to be long-term, sustaining us with the passion, with the excitement, with the desire that we have to see this particular building chapter through and actually execute on the path, plan, and strategy that we're piecing together at this moment so that we can manifest the vision, the dream, the goal. The moon is then going to semi-square Pluto, the great transformer. And you best believe that this isn't going to feel good. The reason being, Pluto brings an intensity, especially with the deep dive that we need to do in our psyche. We have to examine the narrative, what it is that we're telling ourselves, what it is that we believe in, especially deconstructing and kind of collapsing the old belief system, the old narrative, the old way of thinking about ourselves, thinking about our capabilities, thinking about what it is that we actually want to change, what it is that we want to transform. So Pluto, because he's being aspected in not the nicest way, he's going to take us on a little bit of a dark trip down memory lane. And this is the point in time because the moon in Pisces gets overwhelmed quickly, definitely feeling the pressure of trying to figure everything out. This is the time when we, typically speaking, are going to want to check out from reality, when we're going to want to numb ourselves. We have to keep in mind that the Pisces energy is the escape artist, is the avoidance energy of the zodiac. We definitely would rather be living in la la land where all is happy, all is well. Pluto is illuminating for us, though, the pain, the trauma, the discomfort, the displeasure of our current circumstances, which can be very overwhelming, so that we can see where it is that we have the ability to boss up, to take our power and control back, flip the script, rewrite the narrative, and actually put ourselves in a better situation. Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, she's in her rulership in Libran energy. She's going to be making a positive interaction with Uranus, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. Keep in mind that Venus also rules over Taurus energy, so this is a little bit of an intense interaction. What we're getting here is we are kind of attracted to anything that isn't normal for us, anything that isn't mundane, anything that isn't repetitive. We have this attraction to the weird, to the abnormal, to doing things different, to really kind of taking a risk, to spicing things up, so to speak. We're really taking a different approach, a different perspective of trying to focus on the differences between people, in situations and circumstances, in our thoughts and our feelings, and have an appreciation for the outlandish ideas that come in when the differences are actually being illuminated. Sometimes we need to see other people doing things that are normal to them, that are absolutely abnormal to us, in order for us to open up our mind space and our heart space to actually doing things differently. We have the huge opportunity right now to come up with some creative strategies on how it is that we're going to move forward by really kind of stepping outside of the box, the comfort zone, and really testing the boundaries on where it is that we can spice things up, adopt different methods, and really do things in a very different way. The moon is then going to make a interaction with Venus. And this isn't going to feel very good because, again, we kind of, with the Venus and Uranus aspect, we're appreciating the differences. We're kind of we're seeing the appeal of trying to do things differently. We're seeing the excitement that could actually be had by busting out of our comfort zones and trying something totally different outside of the comfort zone of our wheelhouse. But what happens is that we get sucked so far down in the pit of differences that we now start comparing and therefore judging ourselves. Now, this doesn't feel good. This is going to take us on a little bit of a Debbie Downer deep dive into our heart space. Now we're kind of questioning ourselves. We're beating ourselves down. We're really kind of putting ourselves in a situation where, emotionally speaking, instead of seeing the appeal and seeing the gifts and seeing the opportunities of observing how to do things differently, now we're thinking that something is wrong with us. And we're really going to kind of spiral downward and really become, I'm going to say, overwhelmed with a lot of negative thoughts that we're not good enough, that we're not doing things as well as other people. Why try something different when we can't even do what it is that we've been doing this whole entire time, when we haven't been doing it well? Like, why try something different? So this is kind of like where the narrative spirals out of control. And then the moon is going to go ahead and aspect Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy. So what this does is it's like, whoa, we're falling down the pit. We're a little bit of a Debbie Downer. We shouldn't be beating ourselves up and breaking ourselves down. We have unique abilities. We have a unique perspective. We're building ourselves up in confidence. Keep in mind that Chiron, being retrograde in Aries energy, is helping us to kind of collapse the delusions, the false ways of looking at ourselves, the lies that we tell ourselves, the aspects of ourselves that we kind of crap on a lot of the time. We're building ourselves up. This is an identity, quote unquote, crisis / rebranding. And the moon in Pisces energy is very compassionate, very empathetic, and this interaction with Chiron is definitely helping us to just stop being a bully to ourselves and start focusing on what we do good, what we do well, what it is that we have to contribute to the world around us, how it is that we're growing, how it is that we're healing, and mostly how it is that we're changing the way that we see, think, and feel about ourselves. The moon is then going to get into the boxing ring with Mercury. So this is definitely not going to be a positive interaction. Mercury being the ruler of our mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves in Sag energy. So very bubbly, very optimistic, very confident. We have a lot of big ideas, a lot of, I'm going to say, truths that we want to speak, that we want to just kind of get out of our physical body. But here's the problem. The moon is our heart space, our emotions, our intuition, our unconscious selves. And to get into the boxing ring and fight it out with Mercury, it means that our heart and our head are not on the same page at all. And it could be because Mercury in Sag energy wants us to take action, wants us to make moves, wants us to bite off more than we can chew, wants us to commit to new roles and responsibilities, while the moon in Pisces energy knows that this is not a time for that. This is a time to reflect within ourselves. This is a time to move inward. This is a time to kind of imagine the path, the plan, the strategy that we want to take without actually putting ourselves in a situation to make moves, to take action. So being in a square, that's a conflict, that's a tension. We're going to see very much where the distance between our heart space and our head space, how big that distance actually is. But we're also going to feel the kerfuffle, the conflict within us, trying to get our heart and head on the same page. As much as this doesn't feel good, as much as this tension does kind of, put us in a funk, it also illuminates where it is that we have the ability to kind of inch our way into a common middle ground, to either change our emotions or change our thoughts or our narrative so that we're not sitting on the opposite sides of the table. We're not in a confrontation. We're not exploring the extremes. There's always an aha moment. There's always a new epiphany, a new awareness that comes out of any type of planetary aspect that is squaring each other, illuminating where there's conflict, where there's tension, because now our attention, energy, and focus needs to be on resolving that particular distance, that detachment, that confrontation. Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire. He's still in his rulership in Scorpio energy. He's literally only like 2-3 days old at this point. He just had his resurrection point, his rebirth point on the 18th when he conjuncted the sun, and of course kicked off his brand new 2-year cycle. Mars is going to sextile, beautiful interaction with Pluto. Pluto's the great transformer. So here we have the god of war and the god of the underworld merging their energies together. So what we can kind of gain from this, especially seeing as Scorpio energy, is emotionally, intuitively, spiritually changing, transforming, and putting us in a state of metamorphosis. Again, we've been going through this caterpillar into a butterfly situation since June. And the Capricorn energy that Pluto is in, this is about shaking up the structures of what once was in order for us to see where it is that those structures are not strong enough to kind of house this new foundation of who it is that we are, what it is that we want, what it is that we're growing towards. So this intensity of having them kind of work together is going to bring a huge, huge focus into our awareness. We are going to put those tunnel vision goggles on. We are going to have laser focus on whatever it is that we need to be building, whatever it is that we need to kind of plan, strategize as good as possible. We have to identify our goals, actually, refine them, not be vague about it, but actually refine them. And we are really kind of sorting through this new version of self and figuring out what it is that's now kind of lighting our fire, what we're excited about, what we're passionate about, what it is that we actually desire to pursue. And so this is going to turn the volume all the way up on our ambition and put us in a mood and an attitude where our determination is not going to waver, not going to let us down. It is going to push us through this very hard chapter that we're about to jump into of building new structures, new foundations to actually support the new version of self, the new soul contracts, the new timelines, the new vision, the new goal, the new dream. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon sextiling with Uranus. So we had a positive interaction to kick the day off. We have an even better positive aspect to close the day off. The moon interacting with Uranus in this way is a major aha moment. It's a major epiphany. There's a lot of clearing of that emotional residue out of our inner realm. There's a lot of clarity coming with the new vision, the new dream that we're trying to piece together and percolate on. And because of that, we're a lot more open-minded and open-hearted in order to adopt new methods, new ways of doing things, new plans, new strategies, new ideas on how it is that we're going to get from point A to point B. So this is a little bit of a jolt, if you will, in our emotional realm and in our mental plane on where it is that we're kind of pivoting away from the old and where it is that we're now opening ourselves up 100% fully to the possibilities of the future as long as we can get out of our own damn way.